Meet Bayley and his mum and dad, Siobhan and Scott. Bayley is 9 years old, and like many boys his age, he lives and breathes football. However, unlike many boys his age, Bayley was born with a cleft palate.
When we was carrying Bayley on the scans, it never showed up, did it? So the cleft never showed up. So when he was actually born, he was born by cesarean. So he was choking a lot when he was first born. And the doctor turned around and said, I wasn't expecting that because he swallowed a lot of blood on delivery. But it wasn't the case. Like, a couple of days later, when he was crying, my wife had him in his arms.
Well, he kept choking, because I was cesarean, he kept choking. So I kept saying to myself, this ain't right. And like, the doctor said, oh no, it's fine, because he swallowed a lot of blood on the delivery. He said it's quite normal for him to have big choking and stuff. But he kept going blue with it as well. And I kept saying to myself, this ain't right, this ain't right. So she got a paediatrician come check him. They checked him over and said, no, he's fine. Then he'd done it later on that evening, my parents were there, my mother-in-law, and the midwife at the time, she went and got another doctor, another paediatrician. He came, took him away. But as I was holding him and we walked away, he let a big cry out, and I could see this big hole. So I said to what is it? That's when they said it was Cleft. At the time, obviously, we didn't know what Cleft was, so it was quite a shock to us.
Cleft lip and palate is a separation or a split or a fault, if you like, within the lip or the palate or both. Parents find out about their child's condition, cleft lip and palate, either antenatally through the scan diagnosis, which is usually only identifies the cleft lip, or they would be informed about the diagnosis just after birth when the baby is born.
I think it was more of a shock because like, we didn't know he had it when he was born, and then to find out 3 days later and not knowing still what a cleft palate was, because they're always associated, always called cleft palate an air lip, and that's the only thing I knew it was about the air lip, but I didn't know nothing about what other problems go with it.
So it would involve problems with obviously how the baby would look. It would involve problems with the hearing, the feeding, the development of the teeth and chewing, and most importantly with the speech. And also that there may be other secondary difficulties which can be managed by the multidisciplinary team.
Appointments were daunting because like when you go in for an appointment, there'd just be like a room full of doctors, all different doctors, speech therapists, orthodontists, the plastic surgeons, the whole lot.
You'd be about 15, so you'd walk in and they'll be sitting there.
It'd be like going for a job interview. So that's quite daunting, like, and they're all like discussing it. But on the other hand, it's good because you get to know the certain faces. So you have the same doctors, so you can relate to them a bit better.
If the baby is diagnosed after birth, then the family and the baby would meet the full multidisciplinary team, and this would involve the paediatrician, the plastic surgeon, the ENT surgeon, the audiovestibular physician, the specialist nurse, the psychologist, the speech and language therapists, and many other members of the team who are vital in delivering that care for the baby during their journey.
And then the day I got discharged, I had to go straight to Chelmsford, obviously get him seen, and it was a case of all the follow-ups and how to feed him, all the specialities that had to be done and stuff. We came back every couple of weeks, wasn't it? Obviously his weight was monitored continuously because he had a soft squeezy bottle to be fed on, and different teats. It was a change of all bottles and teats and stuff that we had already bought, didn't we, when I was pregnant.
But I think instinct takes over and just learns to sort of just get on with it, and you have to deal with it at that time, and I think it's just one of those things. It's unfortunate.
3 months after finding out their son Bayley was born with a cleft palate, his parents were told he had problems with his hearing too.
At first they told us it was like glue which is common with cleft palate children. So the hearing will come and go until the glue actually clears up. But for a little while he was like constantly like having hearing tests, and the actual line was always flat. So there was never no peak in it, was there?
The child is first assessed by the newborn hearing screen at their local centre. That usually would cover any problems with the inner ears, and also sometimes with the middle ears. But then once the child has passed this, we would also like to monitor them at around 3 months, because the deficit or the blue ear can start to set in after the child has passed their newborn hearing screen, and therefore we need to know about this and treat it if needed. Deficit is usually to do with this tube and the muscles of the tube. So the grommets will help temporarily. They are basically ventilation tubes, short-term ventilation tubes, and they can help in the short to medium term.
Well, we brought Bailey in for his grommet operation, and he was about 5.
It was 5, it was in St John's.
Yeah. He was very nervous. I think he sort of like knew, because being so young as well, like having all these hospital appointments and having, it sort of like unnerves him a little bit, because they say so many doctors, and so he sort of knew, and he had a fear of needles anyway, so he was very nervous coming in to the operation. So the day of the operation we came in, and I did say to the doctors there that he was very scared of the needle and not to show him.
Yeah, but they were really good, the team were really good. When the nurses dressed him up as a doctor, put a stethoscope on him, let him sit in the nurse's station, so he sat there, was answering the phone. So I'd done that for a good couple of hours, so of course he loved that, and that kept him at ease. And then a little while after he was taken to theatre, wasn't he? He went to theatre and he was absolutely fine.
Do you remember when you had grommets in your ears?
Yeah, I remember because before I had grommets in the ears, and they dressed me up like a doctor, put like the gloves on and the apron, and the microscope, no, not microscope, telescope, telescope, no, oh, I can't say.
Stethoscope.
Yeah, around my neck, and we bandaged up the doctors who was looking after me before I was going in for my grommets. Because they put me to sleep as I was awake, it felt like it went quicker, but it was actually longer.
Even though it's a quick, simple operation, but from going to the theatre, coming back for about 2 hours.
And did you notice a change with his hearing straight away, or was it more gradual?
No, I think it was gradual.
It was gradual.
Because like where they put the grommets in, he had like a bit of dry blood in the ears, so it didn't sort of work straight away.
He was saying that when he actually came round, he said, "Oh, everything feels really loud."
Yeah, he said that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he said that after day 2 after, he said everything's gone a bit shallow again. And then another time they said to you, "Oh, it's gone really loud again." So I think it was just where they were just
getting used to it.
Yeah.
And after the grommets, they'd done the grommet operation. He seemed to pick up a little bit for
about a year, I'd say.
Yeah.
It was up and down. It was always fluctuated, always up and down. No time come for the hearing test, it was always up and down, always.
With the speech and language assessment, the first speech and language assessment occurs at 18 months of the child's age, and after that at 3 years, again with the speech and language assessment, so coupled hearing and speech testing. And then we would have intervals of approximately yearly until school entry, if everything is fine and we're satisfied the child is progressing well from his hearing point of view and from his speech and language, then the assessment will be 5 yearly until they are much older within their adolescent life. Obviously, we'll always remain vigilant, and if there's any concerns whatsoever, there is immediate access of the child to enter the system to have further assessments.
Last 4 weeks, he had a hearing test, and obviously his hearing's gone down, deteriorated really bad. He's got low frequency sound hearing loss, obviously, which is a concern. And we are worried about it. He is being reviewed again in May. Our audiologist has explained that it's a possibility because he's starting in secondary school in 2 years, and he doesn't want his work to fall behind, that he might have to have a hearing aid to obviously help him in the classroom, but we're not too sure yet until May. So,
hearing aids are extremely useful, and in that they have less adverse effects or less side effects than the grommets, from the point of view that they are non-invasive. There is no surgical intervention or interference with the tympanic membrane. However, the hearing aids would need extra support from the professionals and also guidance to the parents to ensure that they are complied with, because the benefit of the hearing aids is ultimately depending on how long the child uses it in its everyday routine and daily function.
But on a day-to-day basis, I mean, he still has his good days, he has his bad days. Normally in the winter it is a lot worse due to the wind, the cold weather,
chest infections, colds, that sort of stuff, which contributes to the hearing.
Cold gets in my ears and it feels like it's trying to affect my ears.
But as parents, just like the general signs, is like things like the telly, the volume of the telly increases as his hearing drops off for the frequencies.
Because some children, my hearing ain't that bad. I turn the TV up to about 10, 11, and then when I have a good day, it goes down to like 9, 8.
If you speak very low, he can't hear you. So if you speak in a slightly raised voice, he can.
Things just like having to repeat yourself a few times, calling him when he's up the stairs or playing, or he's a bit distracted. You have to call him 3 or 4 times instead of once.
You're not ignoring them, are you?
Just too busy playing.
Just playing.
If you were to meet Bayley and his parents now, it would most likely be on the football pitch, as Bayley is an extremely talented player, and his problems hearing have never interfered with his natural ability with a ball or with his participation in a team.
Really, his life is football, and it takes up quite a lot of time. It takes up quite a lot. I mean, he has training on Saturdays, he has matches on Sundays, training during the week, technical training.
Yeah.
And when he obviously was scouted for the academies. He's been in West Ham, Chelsea, Arsenal, and at one point all 3 of them were running together. So one was on one day and one was another, so he was quite busy. I literally go football every day of the week.
What team do you play for?
I play for Shield Academy.
What position do you play in?
I play in sometimes centre mid, sometimes striker, and sometimes right midfield.
To be honest with you, though, with the hearing loss, his mental awareness of around the way he plays is unbelievable. It's sort of like
a lot of the parents comment and they say they can't believe how he's so small and how he's where he's got to be and what he's got to do. They say it's like looking at a professional footballer playing. He just knows what he's got to do, and he can see the ball coming before it's even been kicked or what's going to happen. It's amazing. I think like it's one of the other senses have kicked in, where he suffers with his hearing. I think mentally he's like one of his other senses have kicked in. But I think because he plays at such a high level in football, no one notices it anyway. Because some of his teammates are not as good as him,
So they don't even notice. They just think if he does something wrong, and they just make it like he's made a mistake, as normal children do.
So, Scott and Siobhan, what advice do you have for other parents of children with cleft palate and a hearing loss?
Just don't let their problems affect them too much. Don't make a big issue of it. Just treat them like they're normal. I think by doing that, you just stop them being conscientious about it. It stops them being less confident, and just boost them. Just treat them like a normal child. Give them praise when they're doing well, and that's it really.
And Bailey, what would you say to other children with a cleft palate and a hearing loss?
You're just like me. Don't really matter what you are, what you have. You still could do the same thing as me, like play football, do dancing, and play tennis.
Well said, Bailey. We couldn't put that better ourselves. If you would like more information on cleft palate and childhood deafness, please visit our website or contact our helpline team.